course, our main thing is to help you guys improve your Google Ads results. But when it comes to Black Friday, there are actually a lot of things that you need to do outside of Google Ads in order to make it a success. Think about your offers, your ads, stuff like that. But we'll get to that during this training. So yeah, let's just dive right in. Just checking, Bob, is it going to the next slide?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, awesome. So the main key learnings for today are practical tips to help you scale your Google Ads campaigns in the Q4 peak season. So what you will learn today is applicable to what's coming up with Black Friday. Most of it, I guess, would be tailored more towards e-com because of the nature that e-com is so heavily invested in Black Friday, Christmas, etc. But these tactics also apply to lead gen if you have a promotion in a certain period of time. So maybe outside of Black Friday. How to prepare your campaigns, offers, landing pages, ads, and more. So everything on the Google Ads side. And then more the tactical side to help you maximize the sales and profit so you can get the best possible results either for yourself or for your clients. So a few disclaimers for today's session. 1 sec. Yeah. We will go for, I think, 45 to 60 minutes with 15 minutes of Q&A. We did this training in the PPC Hub membership that we have. We did it a couple of weeks ago. So I think, yeah, we also wanted to do it for the broader group, you guys, because of the urgency there is with Black Friday coming up. So I think we need around 45 to 60 minutes, and we will also do a little bit of Q&A at the end. The pace will be high. We will share the recordings on our YouTube channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, this link that you're watching now is probably also going to be the recordings link, but we will share this afterwards anyway. Then this is an offerless, pitchless webinar, online training. It's not like we invited you guys so that we can pitch something at the end. So it's just going to be laid back, just giving you guys some value to help you with Black Friday, which is already 2.5 weeks away, or even less, like in 2 days and then 2 weeks. So it's coming up really, really fast now. If you want to, you can ask and upvote questions on this link. We will try to put it on the screen a few times as well throughout this training. It's bit.ly/PPC Mastery Live Q4, a whole mouthful. But this is where you can send the questions and upvote other questions as well, which we will handle at the end of this session. So let's get inspired and let's just have some fun, guys. Okay, so another disclaimer that I put the same slide twice. Yeah, before we kick this off is actually one note. We both got voted, or we both made the top 100 most influential PPC experts of the last year, which is crazy, especially seeing where we came from in the last year. It's been 1 year exactly, a little bit over 1 year since we started PPC Mastery. We actually filed the business or launched the business officially on October 20th, 2022. So just over 1 year ago. And Bob and I are working together for not even 1 year and 3 months or so. So it's such a short time, and it's really a big honor for us to be mentioned in the top 100 amongst, PPC industry experts like Kirk Williams and Mike Ryan and Mike Rhodes and Brad Getz, etc. Like the heavy hitters from back in the day who we always used to look up to. It's really cool to be mentioned among these guys and women in the top 100. And actually, before it was PPC Hero that did the top 25. Now they stopped, and Wijnand Meijer from TrueClicks is taking over. He relaunched this initiative through ppcsurvey.com. So they are gathering data and insights about the industry, the PPC industry. And they're, I think in Q1, they're launching a report with the state of PPC, as it is, and how people have filled out the survey. And at the end of the survey, if you fill it out at not PPC Mastery, I always say that automatically, at ppcsurvey.com, you can vote for your top 5 favorite or most influential PPC experts. And feel free to vote for us. Feel free to vote for somebody else. There's a lot of names in there, and I had a really hard time creating my top 5. But it's a huge honor for us to be mentioned here among industry legends. So yeah, if you have some spare time, feel free to fill out the survey, because you will also help everybody with the report that's going to come as a result from this, the state of PPC report. Anything else there, Bob? All good.
Nope.
All right, then let's dive in, guys. We have a lot to discuss today. The agenda, and thanks, by the way, Nick. The agenda is, first we'll start with high-level trends. So how's this year different from previous years? Maybe some things are the same. Trends to be aware of. Then we'll look at preparation. So what and how do you need to prepare in order to get ready to maximize results on Black Friday and between Black Friday and Christmas? And then we'll dig into tactics to maximize sales. So nitty-gritty details on how you set up your accounts inside of Google Ads. And then lastly, we will have a Q&A and a discussion for the remainder of the time. So let's just dive in with the high-level trends to be aware of. And if this is the first time you see a training from us, you're probably like, what are these guys doing? We love to put stupid GIFs and images from stuff that we think is cool. And I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan growing up, so we love to sprinkle these things throughout our presentations, which is kind of contrary to what we learned when we were starting in PPC 5 to 7 years ago, where, yeah, I think everybody would recommend you to not use these types of things, but this is our business, so I guess we can make our own rules. So let's start with the high-level trends to be aware of. So when it comes to holiday shoppers, and I'm actually going to read out a few of these things because they will help you determine the context of the market, the industry as it is right now. So holiday shoppers are being more intentional and they spend more time researching. So for instance, last year, 80% of shoppers conducted research before making a purchase, which is sort of logical. And only 20% said that they made a purchase on impulse. And I can actually relate to this because for our new home, which we are going into in the next month, in December, we're looking at new TV to buy. And I'm already searching online for a Samsung frame. And now I'm actually already hunting the deals because I know which TV I want to buy, but I know that I'm not going to buy it now because there's inevitably going to be a deal somewhere for Black Friday. And most holiday shoppers are thinking that way, you know, also in terms of not only what to buy on Black Friday, but also what to buy as gifts. And people tend to start their holiday gift shopping much earlier every single year. So more than 30% of holiday shoppers across surveyed markets say that they're receptive to brands and retailers that they haven't bought from before. And almost 50% of those surveyed say that they like to keep an eye out for new brands, even if they are not planning to buy at the moment. So this leaves a lot of room for impulse buys. And it's definitely not only the established brands that are that can benefit from these moments. 50% of global holiday shoppers say they will choose where to buy gifts based on who has the best deals, discounts, or promotions. Like I said, if I already know now that I'm going to buy Samsung Frame TV, then I'm just going to look for the best deal, which makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people are actually going back to buying in physical stores, which is an important metric, because if you have a physical store, then definitely don't count that out on Black Friday, because a lot of people will start to research online and then buy in store, which I'm probably also going to do with the TV. I think I'm going to buy it at MediaMarkt in the Netherlands in store, but I've already done my research here online. So naturally, we wanted to give the sources of these insights, because we didn't invent these trends. They come from a lot of Google commissioned researches. So when it comes to maximizing performance in the Q4 holiday season, there are a few key dates to take into mind. And we created a little Q4 holiday calendar, which you can use to, if you haven't already, which you can use to plan out your campaign. So actually this weekend on the 11th, I think that's Saturday, it's Singles Day, which is a major 1 day or 2 day e-commerce event that kind of kicks off the holiday shopping season. So maybe now, if your client is not doing anything with Singles Day, it might be too late. But just understand that this is a massive event, especially I think in China is where it originated from, and a lot of retailers in the US, in Europe, are also picking up on Singles Day and are sort of using that to kick off the season of discounting. Then on Friday, the 24th is Black Friday, and the day before that is Thanksgiving in the US. And it's kind of odd. For some clients, I see really good results on Thanksgiving already. And for some clients in the US, I see not so good results on Thanksgiving because the people are with their families and not necessarily into the buying mood because they're all just hanging out and eating, etc. But then on Black Friday, it really that's the craziest day of the year. But that entire week is really important. Then the Monday after, it's Cyber Monday, and throughout December there are a lot of key dates. Some a little bit lesser known or less important, but of course the most important ones being Christmas, Boxing Day, which is in the Netherlands sort of second Christmas day, which doesn't exist in the US, for example, but it is actually important. And then the Saturday before that is Super Saturday, which is known for the day where people go to the store to do the last minute gift shopping. So if you have a physical brick and mortar store, then that might be an incredibly important day to think about how we can get as much footfall to your store. But also think about shopping deadline days, for example, 1 or 2 weeks before online shopping deadline days, 1 or 2 weeks before Christmas, because at some point you cannot order anymore. You cannot receive your gifts on time if you order too late online. So always keep that in mind as well. At a certain point, you will see dropping conversion rates because people are just not buying anymore, or what's also important, actually, what a client of mine did last year in the 3 to 5 days before Christmas. So then the order deadline day was getting closer, and they were offering free premium shipping, for example, to stimulate more sales in that period for last minute buyers, which is important because people still want to get their gifts on time. And if you can give them an incentive to shop with you by saying, okay, we cover the fast and premium shipping, then that can also be a boost for conversion rates while your competitors are actually losing out. So just to keep that in mind. And of course, January 1st being New Year's Day. So when it comes to preparation, there are some things that you can and should do before the holiday season. And now we're actually getting close because it's 2 weeks out. So if you haven't thought about Black Friday and Christmas, etc., then you really need to step it up now. But I hope that most of you have already strategized and thought about this. But if you haven't, or even if you have, here are some tips on how to prepare fully. So these are the things that we're going to cover in the upcoming slides. Learn from last year's performance, defining your objectives and target KPIs, crafting irresistible offers, landing pages, trends, conversion tracking and remarketing tagging, product feed, merchant center features, and holiday-specific image, text, and video ads. So when it comes to learning from last year's performance, it's important because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Really, look at last year and see what did you do that worked well? What did your competitors do that worked well? What did you not do that other competitors did that worked well that you can learn from? So when you reflect on last year's data, these are the things that you can think about. So first, competitor analysis. What can you learn from your competitors? How did they behave in terms of impression shares? What strategies or tactics did they use that seemed effective? What can you learn from their offers, their ads, their landing pages? Then promotional offers analysis. Which offers drove the best results? Which ones failed? How can you have made those offers even better? And I think great Q4 performance really starts with how much research you do and how much you reflect on last year, because there are a lot of learnings that you can leverage from your own accounts, from your own brands, but also from competitors. You can look at your campaigns. So which ones got the best results, best ROI, which ones underperformed, and why? Did you hit your targets, etc.? Why not? Then look at the budget and your spend. How did that increase? Are you happy with how you ramped up the spend? Did you spend too much? Did you spend too little? Did you run into budget limitations? Can you improve your future budget planning? Next to that, you can look at your keyword and category analysis. So again, which ones performed well, which ones didn't? Is it reasonable to start testing with Black Friday keywords or maybe not? Just look at your account from last year and see, okay, what worked well and what didn't. Same goes for bids and targets, auction insights. How are you happy with how you modified your targets and ramped up the targets and the spend towards Black Friday and ramped down afterwards? Did you use seasonality, bid adjustments, etc., etc., etc.? And you can do the same with your ads and landing pages, which is basically the same approach. Look at what worked well, what didn't work, what can you improve, what can you learn. And the next step is defining your objectives and target KPIs. And this is actually super important, as it always is, because a lot of advertisers, I think, go into Black Friday blindly. And the worst thing that can happen, I think, is that you haven't really set objectives and target KPIs, and then you get a lot of revenue, but your profit margins aren't good. So you need to spend a lot of time planning the goals and targets and KPIs that you have, and you want to make them smart. So here are a few examples. Achieve 150% increase in online sales on Black Friday compared to the average daily sales of the previous month. That's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. Achieve an impression share of more than 80% on your top 25 keywords during the week leading up to Black Friday, or attain a ROAS of 400% on all non-branded search and PMAX campaigns between November 1st and December 31st, allowing spikes to 250% on key dates like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So this is how you make it incredibly concrete, and then it makes it easy for yourself to analyze later on and reflect on how it performed. And then you can, if it went well, you can celebrate with your clients. Maybe if it didn't go so well, you can learn to improve next year. Then the next step is, in my opinion, arguably the most important one, and that is crafting irresistible offers. So again, here, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Look at what worked well for you last year, what worked well for your competitors, and see how can you do more of that this year and maybe even improve it. And one of my favorite quotes in business of all time is, "Make offers so good people feel stupid saying no," which is from the GOAT Alex Hormozi. If you guys haven't, actually, side note, if you haven't read his book, $100 million Offers, I would highly recommend you all to pick that up. Bob has it on speed dial. Nice. I didn't know that was so close for you. Nice plug. Yeah, Alex Hormozi, if you don't know who that is, definitely look him up. He's the number one guy in business right now, and everybody is sort of modeling what he is doing and saying. But his book, $100 million Offers, is really key to help you create good offers that convert. And his second book, $100 million Leads, is also great for marketers like ourselves to learn more about how to generate leads for a business, how to grow a business, etc., etc. So what you want to do, yeah, Yami says Hormozi is a legend. Absolutely. So what you want to do is you want to craft better offers than your peers. And there's a few different ways in how you can do that. Discounts, making sure your price is competitive, bundles, dynamic pricing strategies, etc. And here are a few examples of what you can do with your offers. And people expect big offers on Black Friday, because people are just waiting for that the entire year. And like I said, with the example of myself with the television, I already know for 1 or 2 months that I want to buy this TV, and I'm moving into my new home in December. So I already knew, okay, I'm gonna put that off for a bit and see what comes up on Black Friday, and then I'm going to buy. And most people, or maybe not most people, a lot of people think that way, especially as you get closer to Black Friday. I'm not buying anything right now, not even the TV, but other stuff. I'm not buying anything because I know that somewhere good offers are going to come up. So here are some things that you can do with your offers. And one is give big discounts. So this is an example from Low Fees, clothing brand. Black Friday up to 70% off. And that is a big eye catcher. 70%, that invites people to be curious and want to learn more about the sales. And it's not every product that is 70% off, but they can advertise with that and get people in the store, and then they will buy a lot of different products that might be 30% off, 50, 70, 10, whatever it is. But you want to give people big discounts. I had a client last year and they gave 5%. It was B2B. They gave 5% discounts. And that's just, in my opinion, that's just stupid. You're probably better off not doing any discounts than 5%. But the craziest story that I heard is from one of our PPC Hub members. And she was working in energy contracts, stuff like that, energy suppliers. And they gave their Black Friday offer was €1 off per month. Doesn't make sense. So as I said,
maybe per kilowatt.
Yeah, not even, like, it was total €1. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you have a cheapskate client like that, tell them they're better off not doing a discount than giving €1 per month off or 5%. Another mechanic that you can use, because you don't want to just give, for example, 50% off on one product and then that's it. What you want to think about is, how can you use that to get people to buy more so that your average order value increases? So one of the most popular mechanics for that is the buy more, get more mechanic. So the more that your customers spend, the higher their discount is going to be, or the more that they spend, the more that you give them in terms of free gifts, stuff like that. So here's an example from Kosas, beauty brand, and they're offering 20% off on any purchases below $25. But then as the total cart value goes up, the discounts also go up. And one of my clients, they actually were really smart with this Shopify brand. And as you add something to the cart, you see a bar that says, oh, you only need to spend $13 more to get 20% extra off. And that's how you kind of stimulate people to buy more from you, because you see, oh, if I'm so close to getting an additional 20% off, I might as well buy something else. Here's an example from Exter. They did a limited Black Friday release, and that's also a good way to stimulate sales, because especially among the more loyal customers, this can be really big to get repeat purchases, or just have urgency and scarcity, because you have a limited edition Black Friday bundle that's only available for an X amount of people during Black Friday. And that's a really good sale mechanic as well. You can give free gifts with the purchase. So if people spend more than $100, for example, you give them a good gift. And with this as well, like, the perceived value of the gift should be really high. You can do bundles, so add more products together and then give a big discount on that. You can do flash sales and daily deals. So this is bol.com, which is sort of an Amazon like platform in the Netherlands. And I know that on Black Friday, usually every day they have different deals. So then on Monday, travel deals, Tuesday, clothing, etc. And that can be a really interesting mechanic to bring people back to the store every single day. You can also gamify the experience. So have people spin a wheel of fortune, and then what it comes on, that's the discount that they get. And a pro tip, build up a VIP list. And this is something that we are doing with PPC Mastery now. If you want to see that in action, it's ppcmastery.com/Black Friday, I believe. And this is where we build up the sort of the momentum, and people can sign up for the VIP list, and then they will get notified before everyone else to get access to the Black Friday deals early. So if you want to check that out, that's ppcmastery.com/Black Friday. And another brand that is doing that really well is Exter, which I work with. And they also have a sign up for their VIP list. And on this VIP list, they give extra discounts, exclusive bundles, and early day access, 2-day early access. And the upside for them with this is that they capitalize on the Black Friday shopping momentum early. And why is that important? Because people can only spend their money once, and Black Friday is highly competitive, and a lot of brands are fighting for the attention of the same customer. maybe for different products, but yeah, it's just a fight for their I want to say for their wallets, but for the money in people's wallets. And if you do an early access deal before the main before everybody launches their Black Friday deals, then you can already capitalize and get some momentum from early sales that you may not have gotten otherwise. And you can stimulate that with a VIP list, build up that list, and then give them extra discounts, extra offers, etc. So that's it for the offer side. And don't sleep on this, definitely. And I do understand that it is not our responsibility as a Google Ads specialist to create offers, because that's the responsibility for the brand, for the business owners, marketers, etc., at the brands that you are working with. So that's your client's responsibility. But I do believe that it is our responsibility as marketers, as Google Ads specialists, to challenge them if we think that their offer is not really good, because the better their offer, the better your results are going to be. And the better your results, yeah, that's just nice for us as Google Ads specialists, because then we can say how well we did on Black Friday. And yeah, the better the offer, the better your results are going to be in the end, and the more happy your client is going to be with you. And yeah, then you can just celebrate winning together. All right, so moving on from the offers to the importance of creating holiday specific landing pages. So what you want to do is you want to create effective holiday specific landing pages for your Google Ads campaigns, to sort of align your ad messaging with your landing page. And we're going to give a few tips on how to do that in a second. But this is also going to work or going to result in increased conversion rates, because you will have highly specific direct response, conversion focused copywriting. You can create urgency on these landing pages. You can do countdown timers. You can showcase the holiday bundles, deals, etc. that you have. There's going to be a better match between your messagings on the ad side and on the landing page side. And this is just something that is really important, especially on Black Friday, because the more relevant landing pages you can create, the higher your conversion rates are going to be. So this is an example from Best Buy? Yeah, Best Buy. They had this on the left side. You can see their display ad, and then on the right side you can see their landing page, and it's like almost the same, except on the landing page there's more information underneath. So that's a perfect match between when people click on the ad and what they see on the landing page. It's exactly what they expected it to be. And then as a result, you can expect that the conversion rates are also going to be higher. It doesn't have to be an exact match like it is here, but you do want to create similar designs so that it is easy for people to see that they're on the right page. For example, bol.com, as I said, the Amazon type of marketplace in the Netherlands, they do something similar where you can see like their Black Friday week deals on the display ad on the left. The design is similar like on their landing page, and that's just a perfect match between messaging on the ads and the landing page. So here are just a few tips to help you optimize your holiday specific landing pages. You want to grab attention and communicate the value of your offers, both in visually and textually. So you can see here that these brands, they have it both visually and textually. So you can see the visuals, Black Friday, big deals. You can see the numbers, etc. Maybe what they could have done better here is strike through the original price and then do like the offer next to it. So yeah, that's the next one. Actually, highlight the discounts and the exclusivity of those holiday deals. Explain why your visitors should choose you over competitors. This is especially important if you are sort of a contender in the market. If you're a new brand, show why your product is much better than your competitors. Use visually appealing images and videos to showcase your holiday deals. So make it really clear in the banners, etc., like Black Friday deal up to 60% off, whatever it is. Make sure your images match with your ads. implement countdown timers, especially as you get closer to the end of the sale, because we see this as well at PPC Mastery, but also at our clients, that the majority of the people wait until the very last moment to buy something. It's just human nature. And if you have countdown timers, you can build up the urgency and FOMO so that people will actually take action. But just one thing, don't use fake countdown timers. Make sure that at the end of the countdown timer that the offer is actually expiring, and then you should be good to create some additional urgency and scarcity, which helps in increasing conversion rates. So implement labels like best deals and include additional incentives like free shipping, bonuses, guarantees, etc. So in a second, we'll also look at creating ads, but first, some more things on how to prepare. So what you can do if you want to analyze upcoming seasonal trends, you can look at demand forecasts, you can look at search trends, and you can use the performance planner. So first, let's check out the demand forecasts and search trends, which you can see in Google Ads. So if you go to the Insights tab, either on the entire account or within a campaign, you can see that Google gives you forecasts on what they expect to happen in your market. And this is a relatively new feature. I think they launched this last year in the Insights tab, and they're continually building this out. This is really nice because I'll actually show the visual. Google is predicting what the search volumes and interest in your products or in your market is going to be in the upcoming 90 to 180 days, I believe, and then where the peak of the search interest lies. So you can see here at the top, that's Black Friday, obviously, but then they forecast how the search interest is growing and also how you are capitalizing on that. And this is perfect because you can take this to your client and you can say, okay, I think we need more budget in the 2 weeks leading up to Black Friday, because then you can see the demand is already increasing. Maybe we need to do something to capitalize on that. And you can see in not all accounts have this, but you can see in that overview, you can also see trends per campaign, and you can see how much of the clicks or how many clicks you're getting compared to the search volume in a specific market, which is amazing. These insights that's really solid, because then you know what you need to do, and in order to grow more, or where you are capped out on growth, and these things lead to great conversations with your clients. So the next step that you can do to analyze the seasonal trends is using the performance planner. And I think most of you know what the performance planner does. It's basically in the name. It helps you look ahead and see how much what type of performance you can expect with a specific budget and with specific targets. And by using the performance planner, you can find the sweet spot of the projection. It's always a projection. It's an estimation. It's not that that is going to be 100% match all the time. But I have to say it is getting better throughout the years. But you can see where sort of your sweet spot is, or maybe where you might be overreaching and spending too much or having too aggressive targets. So that's a really nice one to use next to the demand forecast that you see in the insights that I just showed you. All right, then, maybe arguably one of the most important things as well is double checking and debugging your conversion tracking and remarketing tagging. And you want to do this well in time. Okay. Tools, I see your comment. Where is this report supposed to be located? That is in the Insights tab in Google Ads. I think demand forecast is available in most of the accounts. The campaign specific insights may not be yet, but go to the Insights tab, and then there, all the way at the bottom, you will see some of the demand forecasts, hopefully in your account. So what you want to do is you want to triple check and improve your tagging, but you want to do this early on. And as we get closer now to Black Friday, this is probably something that you, unless your conversion tracking is a complete mess, you probably don't want to touch it too much right now, because we're getting close, and your data needs to be spot on, and you don't want to set up new conversion tracking tags so close to Black Friday. But yeah, you always want to implement the best practices there, and you can follow our measurement maturity framework, which you can check out in the PPC Edge number 50, which is just a framework of um, an overview of all the best practices that you can implement on the conversion tracking side, from how to or which tags to use, offline conversion tracking, when to use server-side tagging, enhanced conversions, conversion modeling, all that stuff. That's too much for this training. We did an entire training on this in July. But check that out if you want to in the PPC Edge number 50. So you can sort of debug your conversion tracking and your audience tags. You want to make sure that they are gathering data so that you can retarget people on or around Black Friday. So another thing to prepare is your product feed for ecom, of course. So you want to make sure that your product feed is in a healthy condition. You want to fix your disapproved products. You want to have alerts in place for when something breaks, that you are instantly alerted. You want to make sure that the feed is being fetched continuously, that you have the sale price in there with sale price effective date, so that Google knows when your sale is starting and when the sale has ended, so that you always show the correct prices. And if you use a dynamic pricing strategy where your prices change a lot throughout the day, consider using the content API integration, because with the content API integration, you have instant product updates instead of a feed that you need to refetch. However, if you've never used content API and you've always used feeds, then you're probably better off not switching now, because it might be might result in errors and unmanageable situations. So if you have products that change a lot throughout the day in price on Black Friday, just do manual fetches throughout the day, like multiple times. Or I think there's even a script. I've never used that. I heard about it. A script that fetches the feed once per hour. I haven't seen that myself, but that might be something to look into as well. But what I just do, I'm manually doing a lot of analysis and observing throughout Black Friday, and then if needed, I will just do a new manual fetch for the product feed. It's a bit of manual work, but it's Black Friday, so next one is you can set up your product feed so that you show sale annotations with your shopping ads. So I think most of us know that you can have the sale annotation that you see in this example from Google, where it says sale, or it says the price strike through with the sale price. And to have that, you need to have the sale, the price attribute in the feed, and the sale price. And there are a few requirements for this to show a strike through price or a sale annotation. Doesn't always show, but here are some requirements. Even if you do match all of these requirements, it doesn't always show these annotations. That's good to know. The base for the price of the product needs to be available for at least 30 days in the past 200 days. So what that means is the normal price needs to be active at least 30 days within 200 days time frame. And Google is doing that because otherwise you can just say that your product costs 10,000 euros and you offer it for 9 euros, and then you have a 99.9% discount. Doesn't really work that way. So you need to have the normal price active for some days throughout the year, and the sale price cannot be shown for more than 30 days all at once. So beware of that. If you are discounting early, just know that that's the mechanic there. And the discount has to be in the range of between 5 and 90%. I think, Bob, you actually found the script that I was talking about, right? It's one from Niels Roymans.
Yeah, so if you Google on product feeds, fetch, and you include Niels Roymans, the name, you will find his blog post about the script that Miles spoke about.
Yeah, great. So shout out to Niels Roymans. If you guys don't know who that is, that's the script OG. And I think he built a wonderful script for this. So check that out. Script fetch. Niels Roymans. Some more things to add to your shopping feed is just additional images for sale images, lifestyle images. We suggest to have your feed ready at least 2 weeks before the holidays. That doesn't mean that you already need to have the holiday specific data in there if you're not doing a sale yet, but make sure that you have everything in place so that you can launch effortlessly when the time is right. You can test with holiday specific keywords like Black Friday deal at the end of the title or description. But I will note, I did this with a couple of clients last year, and the results, usually what it resulted to was a lot of impressions and a lot of clicks on generic terms like Black Friday deal that didn't really convert a lot. So I would say it is a nice test if you're an advanced advertiser with big budgets. But if you're smaller, then maybe this is maybe a little bit out of your reach. But then again, every account is different, so it might be worth testing. Oh, and by the way, if you have specific products that are on sale and you want to create, for example, specific asset groups or product groups or item groups in PMax or product groups in shopping or campaigns even, you can use custom labels to put a label like Black Friday in there, for example, so that it's easy to turn on and off, turn specific products on or off. So this is what your holiday specific images could look like in your product feed, which I would definitely recommend to use as additional image links. Okay, then as an extension to that, there are also a few things in Merchant Center that are worth using. So high impact Merchant Center features. And that is, for example, promotions. So a common misunderstanding is that the sale price attribute of Google, actually, I have to say that differently. The common misunderstanding is that the sale price attribute is part of Google Merchant Center promotions and that you cannot combine the two, but that is not true. If you have a sale price in your feed, then you will see, for example, here the 10% off and the sale annotation, but you can also use promotions in Google Merchant Center, and that is more of a checkout redemption system, which shows that an additional promo underneath the ad. So I don't know if I can see my mouse. I don't think you can see my mouse, but on the one at the bottom, you can see the price 49 euros. The green 10% discount on top of that, that's the sale annotation. But then below that, it shows 10% off, use discount code XYZ. And that is the Merchant Center promotion. So these two, they can work hand in hand. And it's just the promotions, I would always recommend to use them because they are just additional space that you can claim to show that you have something on offer. And here are a few tips. Make it simple to redeem a discount code if a discount code is shown through the promotions. And you can even add discount codes. If you link directly to a checkout page, you can already link discount codes or promo codes in the URL by, for example, depends per platform, but something like promo is or discount code is, and then the code, and then it's automatically applied at checkout. Whatever that is for your platform, you can check that out. If you use Shopify, you can just Google on it and see what that is. But make it easy for people to apply discount codes.
Yeah, so we have a good question from Truls. It is true that the promotions are limited to a set of countries, so it's not available worldwide. So only a couple of countries are eligible to show promotions, like Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Korea, Netherlands, Spain, the UK, and the US. So if you're selling your products as a country of sale inside of one of those countries that you can also find on the support pages of Google, then you will be able to upload or to add a Google Merchant Center promotion. If you are in a country that hasn't been listed in the list I just mentioned, then you have to stick to the sale prices, and you cannot use the promotions, unfortunately.
Yeah, great. Great addition.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, for sure.
So we
And
in the Netherlands we have like half of all the features that America has, but
oh
then
yeah,
there are still countries that do not even have the features that we in the Netherlands have. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I remember that the Merchant Center promotions, I think they were launched a couple years ago, and it was US only, and I had a US client, so I was really happy to use that. And then I checked in other accounts, and then it wasn't there yet. But you mentioned a lot of countries now, so the bigger countries they have it, but the smaller ones maybe you need to wait a little bit longer. When it comes to these promotions in Merchant Center, you can give different options like an X amount off, or buy X products, get X amount off, additional percentages off, a free gift with the purchase, free shipping with the purchase, and then they can all show underneath or somewhere on the shopping ad an extra box with text like free shipping or free gift with purchase, stuff like that. So that's it can help in boosting click-through rate and conversion rates as well, and it's super easy to set up in Merchant Center. Just look for the promotions, and then in a few clicks you have it set up. Another thing to leverage is make sure that your shipping and return information is good, because these actually have a big impact on click-through rates and conversion rates. Because if you offer, for example, same day delivery, that is massive. If you have local inventory ads, for example, which is only this feature is US only, but this can be a massive conversion rate booster if you get as we get closer to, for example, Christmas. Because if I forgot to buy a gift for my for my sister or something like that, then I already know that if I see some store that is offering same day delivery, I will go with them, even if they are a little bit more expensive than another one. And have the correct shipping and return information. One thing that I will say here is that one client of mine last year extended the returns window from 45 days to 90 days to stimulate people to buy more during or before Christmas. And yes, it resulted in slightly more returns, but it also resulted in more simply higher conversion rate, because people have a feeling that they can that they have time to test it out, maybe buy early, then give as a gift. If the gift wasn't received well, then they can always still return it. So make sure that you add the right shipping and return information in Merchant Center, so that underneath your ads you show the relevant free shipping info or free returns until an X date. And don't underestimate how big these things are for your conversion rates. And if you haven't already, and please enable product protection, product data alerts, and automatic updates and image improvements. If depends per your case if you want to do that or no, but these can help to prevent disapprovals. And the product protection, that gives you an email when more than an X% of the products are removed from a feed, which is the worst thing that can happen on Black Friday. The products get removed from your feed. And email notifications when something breaks or you get disapprovals or whatever. You want to make sure that you get those alerts on Black Friday. Okay, so that's it for Merchant Center. Then we have ads and assets, and we can go through this rather quickly because it's kind of straightforward with Black Friday and holiday season, because you want to just simply show people the offer. Don't beat around the bush too much. Just show them that you have a great offer. So you want to start early with the preparations and have your ads 2 weeks in place before the holiday starts. That doesn't mean that you have to launch them live, but make sure that 1-2 weeks before you already have everything in place to, one, help yourself reduce stress beforehand, but also to ensure that your ads get approved by Google. And you don't want to have ads that are still waiting for approval on Black Friday, because then you're screwed. Make the sale the focal point.
by the way,
Yeah,
that
go
is now.
ahead.
So it's this week.
Exactly.
So make sure to start preparing your assets this week.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you can't this week, then next week, and then the week after is already too late. Mention the unique value propositions, your USPs, how much your sale mechanism, free shipping, use holiday references like Black Friday sale, Christmas sale, save big now, etc. Just make it really straightforward. in your ads. Then when it comes to your text ads, you can use ad customizers to show specific stock levels, like last 3 in stock, or different percentages off. You can use countdown timers. Don't forget about your assets, extensions, promotion extensions, site links, price extensions, callouts as well, because then you can have additional mentions of your sale mechanism underneath your text ads. Here are just some examples. Keep it really simple. Just showcase the offer because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for deals, so show them the deals. Okay, then we have image ads, and the same thing applies here. Really, make the sale the focal point of the image ad. Make sure that your ads stand out. Optimize for mobile first, so high quality. You know, all the things that you usually apply to your image ads. Avoid blank spaces. Make sure that it's visible, easily visible on a small screen. So that means the most important things in the middle, and big text, big headlines, etc. Create images with and without overlay text so that Google can mix and match and that you can test, because overlays can backfire in responsive display ads, responsive video ads, because Google might cut off a certain area, a certain part of the image, and then it might look bad. Then when it comes to your holiday specific images, make them just straightforward and match them to your landing page elements. And here are just some examples of Black Friday ads that are just in your face and they pop out. And that's what you need to do as well with your image ads. And one thing, actually, a lot of brands, they make Black Friday ads black. So I think the more color that you can use, the more, or at least contrasts, the more that your ads will jump out in comparison to a lot of ads that are just simply black. Where to place your holiday specific image ads is just straightforward. Image extensions, your display campaigns, video campaigns, performance max, obviously in your asset groups, and in demand gen as well. So when it comes to video, if you use video ads, keep them short. Attention spans are shorter than ever, but typically make them 15 to 30 seconds and make the sale the focal point of the video. And you only have a few seconds to capture the attention. So grab the attention early with a solid hook. Show them the offer already. Show them the offer early. Use your branding early, etc. Make sure the ad is fast-paced. So keep the viewer engaged and use solid call to actions as you get closer towards the end of the video. Use high quality footage. Clearly articulate what you're offering. So front load your holiday offer. Don't beat around the bush here either. And these things like call to action, show your brand early, use emotion by using excitement, humor, emotional connection, etc. There's a lot that goes into highly optimized video ads, which we cannot touch on right now, but just make sure that you show the offer early, you have a good hook, your pacing of the clip is good, and have a really solid call to action. And the conversion rates around Black Friday and Christmas already make up for maybe even average ads, because people are just ready to spend money, and conversion rates are already much higher than normally. We have some video examples, but the audio usually doesn't really work well with these streams. So what we did is, whoa, see, that's what I mean. Just gonna push through.
They work.
Yeah, you heard it?
Yeah, they
work. Okay.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of this, I think we can skip that because we have some tactics on the Google Ads side as well that we want to touch on. But we have, if you want to check out 14 Black Friday video ads as inspiration, go to bit.ly/PPC Mastery. Maybe I should have made this link a little bit easier. But you go to this link, bit.ly/PPC Mastery -BF -videos. We will send this in the recap email that we will send after this with the recordings. And then you can download 14 Black Friday video ads that you can use as inspiration and see what you can learn from that. So I think I went rather quickly in the last three three parts. With the assets. Now we have tactics to maximize sales, and that is more like within Google Ads, some cool tactics that you can utilize. So Bob, this is yours. Let me just take out my screen. Within StreamYard, you can. Oh, you're already doing it. Yeah. In a second, we will continue.
I think you have to allow me to present. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's see if this works. It works, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So in the last part, in chapter number 3, I will go over some generic tactics to maximize your sales during the holiday period. So I will be discussing a couple of high-level tactics that you can use. We won't go into really depth, because if we want to, we will need some more hours additionally to this hour already planned. So let's dive in. So at first, you want to be aware of the seasonal shopping behavior of a lot of people. So essentially, we have 4 types of shoppers during the holiday period. We have early birds, bargain hunters, last minute shoppers, and devoted shoppers. And early birds are essentially the ones that start holiday shopping very early, planning their purchases to find the perfect gifts. And these types of people, they tend to start somewhere in June, July already, planning out their gifts. Hey, what do I want to give my sister? What do I want to give my dad? What do I want to give my girlfriend? So these people are really starting to research early. The second type of people are bargain hunters. So bargain hunters are actively looking for the best deals before and during the holidays. So these types of people, they start maybe researching a month before holidays like Black Friday. They might be starting to research right now, heading over to Black Friday websites that basically list all of the Black Friday deals that are already being mentioned by big retailers, for example. Then we have last minute shoppers. I'm one of those. So I tend to forget about presents until the very last moment. So last minute shoppers rush to complete their holiday shopping, and they do it omni-channel. So these types of people, they go online and they buy right before the last day their gift can be delivered by the delivering company, or they go to a store locally where they just pick up the gift on the last possible day, which is in the US Super Saturday, for example. And then the last group of shoppers are the devoted shoppers. And devoted shoppers are not just devoted to the season, they just keep shopping no matter what. So basically, you have to think in terms of a funnel in order to maximize sales in each type of phase the shoppers can be in, so to say. So I like to create a simple funnel framework for my clients, and then try to brainstorm what tactics, what kind of content, what kind of ads I can use to address all of these different people in different phases. But you have to keep in mind that not everyone will flow through that exact funnel. People can just hop in as a last minute buyer without having researched 2 weeks prior to the actual holiday, for example. So you have to keep that in mind. So if you want to reach the early birds and the bargain hunters that start real early, you want to focus on top of funnel and middle of the funnel tactics, tofu and mifu. This is where you can start to build hype for upcoming holiday sales without revealing too much. So right now, we as PPC Mastery are starting to build hype around our Black Friday offers. Miles just launched our VIP a waitlist, for example. So we are already starting to hype people a little bit early without revealing too much. And this can also be a tactic where you want to deplatform potential customers so you can notify them once your sale drops. So you can create content that help holiday shoppers also build wish lists or gift ideas. And I will show you 2 examples on the next slide. And this is also a great strategy, great tactic that some of the bigger retailers often use. And you can also combine the two, which is also really powerful. So if you want to focus on the bargain hunters, last minute shoppers, and the devoted shoppers, and you do not really have the budget to use top of the funnel and middle of the funnel tactics or channels, you can just focus on the bottom of the funnel tactics. And this is where you can leverage your existing bottom of the funnel campaign types, like your search campaigns, your PMax campaigns, to push your products and categories a little bit harder during the holiday period or a little bit before the actual holiday starts. Often you do not really have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to push a little bit harder, and while still optimizing your ads and your assets for, of course, the specific holiday. But your targeting can essentially remain the same. And of course, there are a little bit details that I will address in the future slides. But you do not have to reinvent the wheel completely. It's just a matter of bidding more aggressively and throwing in a lot of more budget, so to say. So over here, you have two different examples of Etsy. I guess a lot of you know Etsy, where Etsy created a gift ideas landing page. So this is an ideal landing page that they can use to attract early phase buyers. For example, the early birds, but also the bargain hunters that need holiday gift ideas. For example, they have the categories and the amount of products to do this. So this is really suitable for the bigger retailers. If you're a niche website or a niche web shop, then the gift ideas strategy isn't really a good tactic, because you obviously need a lot of products in a lot of categories to address gifts for her, gifts for him, gifts for kids, etc. And on the other hand, we have the deplatforming tactic, where you see a landing page of Coolblue, where you can sign up for their newsletter over here, where they also say, be the first to know about our Black Friday deals, exclusive promotions for our newsletter readers, and they also give you some personal advice. Not really sure if that's true. They just want to sell to you. But yeah, this is a really good tactic in order to deplatform people that are in the early phase. They also let you build your wish list already. They have a lot of categories like electronics, computers, tablets, image and sound, telephones, household items, kitchenware, etc. So this is also really interesting to incorporate inside of your web shop, if it's still possible. So then moving on to the campaign types that you can use to maximize sales. So let's start off with the top of the funnel, and this is the phase we have been in the last few weeks, and we are still in right now. We are closing in on middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel territory because we are approaching Black Friday, for example. But in order to increase your top of the funnel exposure and to maximize sales, you can use video campaigns with the drive conversions subtype and display campaigns. So you really want to set up these campaign types if you have suitable content to push and if you have budget to spend and you want to hit certain extreme growth goals. You really need to budget in order to do this. And you have to keep in mind that you also need to at least 2x your bottom of the funnel budget during the peak holiday seasons as well. So if you have, for example, 50K budget to spend this month, and you're already planning to spend 30K on your bottom of the funnel search campaign types like search, PMax, standard shopping, and you're closing in on Black Friday, where your budget will double or maybe more than that, then you do not really have room in order to spend heavily on the display and the video campaign types. So keep that in mind. If you want to do this, you need to allocate the budgets for it. I like to pair these campaign types with a target CPA bid strategy that is a little bit more aggressive than my non-branded bottom of the funnel campaign types, where the ×2 to ×3 target CPA level is generally a good starting point. So let's say you have a 50 euro non-branded search CPA within a certain product type or a certain category. Then for that same category, instead of a video campaign, you want to times 2, times 3 that CPA. So a CPA of 100 euros until 150 euros is a good starting point to have that room to spend while still pointing the algorithm to, well, the actual conversion and have it have a somewhat reasonable ROI coming out of it. If you really want to spend, you can also use different bid strategies. But yeah, bidding strategies like max clicks or CPM strategies, they will just burn your budgets, especially during peak holiday seasons. So that's completely up to you if you want to do that. But I like to still pair it with efficiency-based strategies. So you might want to adjust your tactics, bids, ads, assets, landing pages as the holiday approaches. So in the early stages of your top of the funnel campaigns, you might want to drive awareness first and deplatform people, like the landing page of Coolblue that I showed you over here. So you might want to bring this to people's attention in the first couple of stages, and in the late stage, you might want to push the actual deal and or the sale. Do not forget to change your campaign-specific goals. So, for example, if the goal of the early stage of your top-of-funnel campaign is to get as many as email signups as possible, then that could be a great campaign-specific goal in order to push the algorithm towards. But as the holiday starts to come closer and you want to switch goals to your actual deal, sale, then you want to switch it back over to your account level goals, which could be a purchase completion, for example. So keep that in mind and don't forget about that part. Per default, I would suggest to keep your audiences and audience segments relevant and tight. You only want to use broad affinity or broad segments like gift shoppers if you have a very broad offering. So if you are a Coolblue or an Amazon or an Etsy and you have a lot of different products to sell and you have the perfect gifts for every type of person, then you can start to experiment with really broad audience targeting. But if you're a smaller retailer and you do not have unlimited budgets to spend during the holiday peak season, then you want to still use tight audience segments like the ones you have been using in the past. They do not have to be really different. If you want to ramp up, you can still consider enabling optimized targeting, of course, or maybe you have it enabled already. Then I would suggest to keep it enabled to maximize exposure. Then for the middle of the funnel, you can use campaign types like search and PMAX full asset, where you use the general PMAX, how it's supposed to be. You can consider expanding your keyword targeting with holiday-specific informational keywords. And these keywords can be the keywords like Christmas ideas for men, holiday ideas for my girlfriend, Black Friday gifts, etc. And you can use these kinds of keywords if you have the suitable offers for that specific audience. Be aware that a lot of these keywords are informational and they have an informational intent where people are still in the early stage and the researching phase. So the conversion rates tend to be really low or relatively low. And at the same time, the closer you start to come towards the actual holiday, the competition levels start to increase quite heavily. So you have to keep that in mind. So I would suggest only bidding on these types of informational keywords if you have the type of offering that is suitable to bid on, and if you have the budget to spend in this phase, in the middle of the funnel. You can also consider expanding your DSA, your dynamic ad targets, with your newly created holiday-specific landing pages. So Google can also use your new landing pages for dynamic targeting. That's a quite aggressive tactic that you can use besides the keyword targeting above that I just mentioned. And you can also consider creating additional PMAX asset groups or even specific PMAX campaigns with dedicated budgets if you want to push more aggressive on these informational themes, hopefully, because you do not have the actual control about where PMAX is going to spend your budget on. So keep that in mind. So that's why I like search more personally for this phase. So over here you can see a couple of middle of the funnel keyword and content examples. So for the US, you see that the average monthly searches are around 15,000 for affordable Christmas gifts, and you see a massive peak before Christmas, obviously. So in peak days, these volumes are even higher than the actual averages you see over here. So if you plan to bid on those, be aware of extremely high competition levels and relatively low conversion rates. But if you have the budget to spend, and if you have a great offering, and you have great content, great landing pages, assets, etc., then this is a great place to bid on, because they open up the doors to so much more search volume and click volume. So that's something to consider. And then for the bottom of the funnel, we also have some dedicated campaign types that are well known, because most of us are advertising in the bottom of the funnel with strict efficiency goals. And these campaign types are campaign types like search, non-branded search, performance max, could either be full asset or feed only, standard shopping, remarketing, it could be dynamic or static. And you can also use a dynamic remarketing audience in either the display campaign type or the video campaign type, if you have proper video ads, of course. So for search specifically, you want to expand your keyword targeting with holiday-specific commercial keywords. So only add holiday-specific keywords like PlayStation 5 Black Friday if you have a suitable offer. So if you're selling a PS5 or other consoles and you're running a 25% promo on the consoles during Black Friday, make sure to throw in those Black Friday long tails as well. Google knows what you want to bid on. You can also monitor the search impression shares and the auction insights on keyword level during the peak days. So that's a really good tactic to use. Also, if you're using dynamic keyword insertion, Google will be able to throw in those long tails inside of your headlines, for example, that could improve your ad relevancy and improve your ad rank for higher and better visibility. Normally, I tend to add these keywords and these long tails in my existing campaigns and ad group structure, but you can also segment them into a separate campaign if you want to control the budget, and if you maybe want to increase the targets even more. So let's say you want to configure a more aggressive target ROAS or target CPA on your Black Friday or other holiday specific long tails, then that's something that you can do in a campaign specific segment. But it's not something that I would suggest doing, but you can. And next, and last but not least, you can also add broad keywords like Black Friday. But this is something you only want to do if you are a really big fish, like Etsy, like Coolblue, like Bol.com or Amazon, and if you're selling thousands of budgets of products, and if you have the budget to spend. So it's something that you have to be really picky with. So over here you see a couple of bottom of the keyword examples, bottom of the funnel keyword examples, where you can see Vans Black Friday, Samsung Black Friday deals, New Balance Black Friday. There are people searching for Crocs Black Friday, which I had to laugh about. Black Friday watch deals. And you can see that these volumes are also really, really high. So if you're selling popular categories, popular product types, popular brands, then do a little bit of a research beforehand. See if people search for holiday-specific long tails and include them inside of your search campaigns. What is really interesting to know is that last year, 70% of shopping-related search volume containing Black Friday already happened before the actual day itself. So keep in mind that if you are running Black Friday deals on Black Friday, that you are really visible on Thursday already, because 70% of the volume already took place. So that's something to keep in mind. And this is a research done by Google themselves. So yeah, I think you can trust this. Then we have Performance Max and shopping tactics. So what you can also do to maximize sales in the bottom of the funnel during peak holiday periods is to consider creating additional Performance Max buckets. This is only necessary if you want to push certain products or product categories harder in terms of target settings, TCPA, TROAS, or even max conversions or max conversion value, and or you want to have a different budget allocation. If you do not want to change any of these, you can just remain you can remain your Black Friday promos inside of the same PMax buckets already in place. You can also consider using local inventory ads. So Miles spoke about picking up, for example, a television at MediaMarkt during Black Friday. If you're using local inventory ads combined with Performance Max or standard shopping, then people will be able to see if a certain product is still in stock in a store nearby. So you can buy it online and then pick it up at the store locally. So this is particularly interesting if you have physical stores and if you want to reach last minute shoppers during big holidays like Black Friday and Christmas. Personally, I think this is a great tactic as well to use apart from the holiday season. So if you are having stores, physical stores, then this is something that you have to look into as well. For remarketing, you want to leverage display and video if you have a video asset for remarketing purposes. So what I like to do is to create new audience lists for your remarketing campaigns just before the holiday themselves. So they start filling just before the actual holiday is taking place. Do not forget to remarket your holiday-specific email lists. So you can also target them as a customer list inside of your Google Ads campaigns. You can experiment with static and dynamic banners. So you can do both. You can either leverage a dynamic remarketing campaign and then also a static remarketing campaign, or just combine the two and have static banners combined with RDAs and HTML5 banners, for example, and have Google rotate them to see what works best during the holiday period. Sometimes the static banners with really bold, simple images tend to outperform your responsive display ads or other banner types like HTML5 banners during the holiday season. So if you have the time and if you have the money to invest in these assets, please do, so you can understand what works best for your situation. You can also consider removing your frequency caps. So if you really want to over-deliver during the holiday period, check your frequency caps. I would suggest removing them so you can be quite aggressive. And if you want to be even more aggressive, you can start looking into platforms like Criteo, which is a big, display platform that can buy into certain premium slots, like the big telegraphs and big placements across the web. And they tend to be really aggressive in terms of remarketing. So if you want to be really aggressive, then you can combine the two to maximize your remarketing reach. And once your holiday sales are over, you want to aggressively restrict your remarketing pool and your remarketing campaigns, and you do not want to be remarketing your Black Friday audience, for example, because they have either bought already, but more importantly, your deals are over and you're back to normal price again. So think about your remarketing caps after the holiday took place. So let's talk about setting targets and seasonality adjustments real quick. And after that, we will talk about setting budgets. So you want to prepare your bids in anticipation to the holiday sale, for example, the upcoming Black Friday. Although smart bidding accounts for these types of seasonal trends, you tend to have to help it at hand. Smart bidding doesn't always know what will happen based on last year performances, for example, and it is often just a little bit too late to adjust for the increase in conversion rates. And a lot of times it tends to be a little bit more towards the conservative side of things because it wants to hit your target if you're using targets, and you can set it to be more aggressively in order to maximize your exposure. So you basically have two options during the peak holiday period to make the most out of your peak days. You can either increase your targets gradually, weeks/days before the holiday takes place. So, for example, if you are not using seasonality adjustments, which is the other option, then you can start increasing your targets towards the more aggressive side right now in anticipation towards the actual holiday period. You can choose one of these, or you can combine them. So setting more aggressive targets will increase your ad rank and your impression shares running into the peak days, allowing you to maximize exposure. And setting seasonality adjustments will tell smart bidding to increase your bids when major changes in conversion rates are expected. If I have to choose between the two, I generally like to lean towards the seasonality adjustments, and I like to change my target ROAS for e-commerce businesses running Black Friday promos a little bit more aggressive, just a little some days prior to Black Friday. But I tend to lean mostly on the seasonality adjustments because, these are the most convenient to work with in my personal view. So how to properly set seasonality adjustments. So the first step is actually to analyze how much you expect your conversion rates to increase during your holiday specific period. So you want to review your historical data, preferably from a similar event within the past year. So if you ran similar Black Friday deals last year, you want to really analyze last year results. And that will provide insight into the anticipated changes in your conversion rates. And you want to base your CPC adjustments on this past data. So make sure to review and to analyze the same period where you had the same conditions in terms of seasonality, times of promotions, etc. Then in the next step, you want to analyze how much you want your CPCs to increase. So this is where you are basically going to use the seasonality adjustments in order to explain towards smart bidding how much you want your CPCs to be increased. You want to analyze the CPC trends during previous sale periods, and if you were able to hit your desired ROAS goals and how this impacted your search impression shares last year. And you want to use these data points to determine the actual CPC adjustments you want to see this year for the current peak. So for example, you can ask yourself, hey, did I hit my targets last year? But did I still lost a lot of absolute top impression share? And did I have some room in terms of my average ROAS, for example? Then that means that my CPCs could actually be more aggressive, or could have been more aggressive. So that's why you can use a little bit of a more aggressive conversion adjustment, seasonality adjustment, so to say. So if you saw that your target wasn't hit last year, that means that you have to be a little bit less aggressive, and you have to take that into account for your seasonality adjustments as well. So a lot comes down to historical data analysis in order to base your seasonality adjustments on for this peak season. And then in the last step, you obviously want to apply the seasonality adjustments. So here are a couple of tips. You only want to use seasonality adjustments for short events. So make sure you're using it for an event between 1 to 7 days. Is it longer than 7 days, or are you planning to use it for an event longer than 7 days? Then you want to use a lower target ROAS setting instead, because seasonality adjustments, they work best for short periods of time, and they do not really work well for longer periods. You want to prevent updating or editing your existing seasonality adjustments. So if you are in the peak day itself, ideally you do not want to adjust your seasonality adjustments, because it might shake up smart bidding too much, and that's not something you want. So you have to obviously take a close eye and take a close look on what's actually happening during the peak day, but you do not want to be turning on the knobs too much, because it can actually disturb the algos. You can't see your impression shares real time, which is a huge pity in my opinion. So you have to check the search engine result pages manually to see how everything affects your ad positions during the peak holiday times. You can see the impression shares and the auction insights for the last couple of days. So in the days prior to the peak day, you can monitor what your competitors are doing. And this is something that I would suggest doing every single day. So if you see certain competitors crawling up in terms of absolute impression share, or absolute top of page rate and top of page rate, but also in terms of impression share, and you're starting to lag behind, then that might be a trigger to start increasing your ROAS already bit for bit, on top of your seasonality adjustment. But you have to keep in mind that your seasonality adjustment will be like a double thing. So if you're increasing your target ROAS and you're going to be using a seasonality adjustment while you have been increasing your targets in terms of your ROAS targets being more aggressively set downwards, then yeah, you're going to be really, really aggressive on the actual peak day. So keep that in mind. So tactics for maximizing sales in terms of budgets. So you want to be increasing your budgets a lot. The last thing you want to do, or you want to happen during your peak day, is to be restricted by daily budgets. So understand how much additional budgets you need on peak days, and you can review historical data points, for example, last year's period. But you can also use the demand forecast and the performance planner that Miles talked about in the beginning of the presentation. You want to be reviewing your daily budgets multiple times during your peak days. So obviously on the day like Black Friday and Christmas itself, but also prior to those days, in order to see if they are starting to be restricted. Because of the conversion delay, you will have to keep track of the cost first-party sales data yourself on the actual day itself. So the conversion data and the conversion value data, there will be an extreme lag inside of your Google Ads UI. So what I like to do is to basically grab the Shopify dashboard or third-party attribution tools to keep track of what's actually happening today on the day itself, to keep track of the MER, the POAS, the blended POAS, for example. So that's all. You all have to do that on the day itself, because you cannot rely on the Google Ads UI. So you can use custom columns inside of Google Ads to keep track of your budget. So I like to use the actual spend custom column and the daily budget spend column. So over here, you can see that the date was set to today, which was on the 21st of October. And over here, you can see the percentage spent of your daily budget, for example. So over here, you see that this campaign of 25 euros per day already spent 27 euros per day on that specific day. So yeah, this is a really close call. So if you see this happening in the morning on Black Friday already, then that's a trigger for you to increase your budget if you are still on target, and if you have the budgets on the other hand, obviously. So this is A third-party attribution tool that I like to use for some of my clients. So what you see over here is Triple Whale. They have a really good integration with Shopify clients. So you can also set this to today, and then really keep a close eye on the actual net profit, the blended POAS or the blended ROAS, the MAR, the amount of sales coming in, the change between new versus returning customers. So you can see all of your key metrics over here on the actual day itself, and that can be input for your actual Google Ads optimizations and your Google Ads actions. So if you see that your budgets are starting to be kept and be restricted, while you see in Triple Whale or in the first party data dashboard that you have for your client that you're driving a good amount of revenue and your costs are still on track, then you're free to go to improve your or to increase your daily budget, so to say. And lastly, you can also use a budget pacer. So this is an example from ladder.io. You can use this for multiple clients in order to keep track of the actual versus planned spend, the spend recommendation prior to the actual peak holiday days. I do not really like to use these types of dashboards. I really think they're fancy, but during the peak holiday season, you want to be inside of the Google Ads UI multiple times a day for all of your clients if you're managing more of them. Don't forget, Google can spend 2 times your daily budgets on Black Friday. So if you're really stretching it in terms of available budgets on Black Friday itself, and you have a monthly budget that is kept that you can maximum spend, keep in mind that Google can overspend by 2 times. This is something to keep a close eye on if you work with set budgets, so to say. Last but not least, I think this is the last part of the actual workshop, is the auction insights. So don't forget the auction insights. You cannot track your auction insights real time. However, you can get insights 2 the days prior to the holiday. So if you see your competitors ramping up bids early, you might want to join the race if you want to catch up. You do not want to lose in terms of absolute top impression share on your top keywords before your peak days, because this will definitely hurt your volume and your conversion volume during the peak day. So I have created a dashboard that helps me keep on track. So this is just one of the many pages of the PPC Mastery Control Center dashboard, giving you more insights of the search impression share, absolute top of page rate, search loss impression share, but also your daily and your weekly auction insights. You can also see the impression share trends and the absolute top of page rate trends and the top of page rate trends for all of your campaigns for the last couple of weeks, for example. So if you see some of your competitors moving up quite aggressively, then that could be a sign to, join the race or not if you do not have the budget, but then at least you know what your competitors are doing. And lastly, you want to save, you want to write down somewhere what your competitors are doing during the peak holiday days, so you can bring that to next year's holiday. So if you want to recall what happened last year, you have it written down somewhere. So what I plan to do is I'm going to take snapshots of the ads that my competitors ran during the Black Friday period, for example, the types of landing pages they used, the impression share trends that I saw, so I can bring that to the table next year. So that's it.
Boom. And that is all, folks. Cool. Awesome. We still have more than 200 people here now. Thanks to everyone who joined us. We just ran over a couple of minutes. As you can see, there's a lot that goes into this, and we tried to pack as much value as we could into this training. Just a few notes to close it off. Thanks, Adrian. Says great presentation. Denis Geertsen was also here, one of our PPC Hub members. He said, great presentation, guys, thanks. And I think he just left, but the reason why I pulled this up is because you spoke about custom columns, Bob. And Denis, we actually created a resource, a free resource together with Denis and Arjan Schorel, which you can find at columnlibrary.com, I think is the name. Column library. Let me just double check. Column. Yeah, so like custom columns, but then columnlibrary.com, and that's a collection of more than 75 custom columns that you can use in your Google. Yeah, there it is, columnlibrary.com. This is really nice because you can copy paste these custom columns, and they range from relatively useful ones to really useful, like potentially lost revenue, click shares, stuff like that. So I just wanted to point that out because Denis kind of triggered that in me, because when I saw his name, I realized that we have this resource, which you can use for free. If you want to go deeper with us, by the way, if you want to fill out the PPC survey on ppcsurvey.com, and if you want to go deeper with us, keep an eye on our Black Friday deals. If you want to get on our VIP list, that's ppcmastery.com/Black Friday. We will also email this in the recap, and then we will have a limited Black Friday bundle. So a lot of the things that we're actually talking about today, we are going to implement as well. So discounts on our courses, limited bundle. The PPC Hub is going to open again. It's been closed for since we launched it in, what was it, October or September. So we've been closed for a while. So keep an eye out for that. Any notes from you, Bob?
I'm pretty tired after the presentation. So I need some coffee afterwards.
Nice. Yeah, I'm also going out.
So much information.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to even be more to zoom in even more, because there's so much to tell about. So yeah,
absolutely. I think if you wanted to, we can do another workshop of 90 minutes just about this. So maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching and for commenting. We had the chat open here on the side, which is always fun to see. It's cool to see people asking questions, but also helping each other out. The recordings are going to be shared. They are on our YouTube channel. And that's it. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you in another training that we will do another time. Peace out, guys.